Alright, Travis Wingoodsell here. It's early in the morning on Monday, the 16th of December. The full judiciary impeachment report has now come out. The one thing that's frustrated me about watching TV shows, cop shows, lawyer shows, is that the whole show builds up, and then at the last 5 minutes of the show, the criminal confesses. They don't have a confession until right up in 5 minutes to the end of the show, and then all of a sudden the person confesses, "Oh, I did it, and this is how I did it, and this was one of my motives," and blah 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 blah. And I'm just, come on, guys, 5 minutes, seriously. It always pisses me off. With Trump's impeachment, we have a situation where the first 5 minutes of the show, the person confesses. Trump confessed when confronted about the whistleblower. Trump releases the transcript and says it's a perfect call. And in that transcript, he confesses to extorting Ukrainian president. Right there in the transcript. That's the center focus of the report, is Trump's confession of crime. And so all the hearings that we had weren't really necessary, other than to confirm that Trump is telling the truth about the confession that he's guilty of crime. Unbelievable. But what's even more shocking is that the Republicans in Congress all say, get over it, no big deal. Don't impeach Trump, let him continue. And your jaw drops, because you realize the movie or the TV show that you're watching for all this is not about catching the guy. It's about a Greek tragedy of how our government is destroying America, turning it into a monarchy, a despotism. Let me read to you from the Declaration of Independence. M-U-C, Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse. Let's see. Text. Okay. And here we have, quoting from within the Declaration of Independence, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends. I've got a sneeze coming on. Oh no. And these ends are, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. All men. And the men is not males, it's mankind. That they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, cannot be isolated, cannot be segregated, cannot be taken away. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which the Constitution then defines as property. that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, and that's clear. Look at the border. Trump is purposely separating families, putting babies in cages, torn from their mother's arms, given away to foster parents in America. I mean, that alone. But there's more. The Republican Party wants to destroy all human rights. Just look at women, what they want to do to women. They want to punish. Trump himself, talking to Chris Matthews before the election, says, yes, women who get an abortion need to be punished. The death penalty for women who get an abortion. And then you have white supremacy, who's at the theme of the whole policy of Trump and the GOP now. So yes, that's destruction of the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and property. He took away SNAP benefits recently. People who are unemployed can no longer receive food assistance. It is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such a form as to them shall seem the most likely to affect their safety and happiness. The Democrats are promoting saving the Constitution. They're wrong. It's a little late to save the Constitution when even the Democrat Party has not even been following the Constitution and have participated in this escalation of a monarchical government that has been destructive to America. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. That's the Declaration of Independence that we celebrate on the 4th of July every year. And so the Constitution was involving an establishment of government to preserve the rights of life, liberty, and property. The form of government was not the law in and of itself. That we must protect and preserve the Congress, the presidency, the judiciary. No, that's just the suggested structure to preserve the real heart and soul of the Constitution, which is life, liberty, property for every human being. Article 6, we'll bring that up for you. Article 6. The Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, the Constitution, life, liberty, property for all human beings. All, and then treaties shall be the supreme law of the land. Everything done in government, in the Congress, in making laws, in the executive for enforcing laws, in the judiciary for judging the laws, all have to center around life, liberty, property for all human beings. That's the supreme law of the land. In this impeachment process, they're talking about preserving the rule of law. No, guys, no. It's about whether or not Trump has deprived human beings of life, liberty, or property, and/or property. And the case is clear. Trump confessed. Yes, I was not going to give aid to Ukraine to defend against Russia, as they are at war with Russia, unless they got dirt on Biden, unless they came up with an alternative narrative about the 2016 election, that it wasn't Russia, the ones who are attacking them. And so yes, Trump confessed. And yet we're going to have in these votes Republicans, and even one Democrat is now saying, oh, I'm going to vote no. That's treason. Trump confessed. And so anybody who votes no to impeachment are traitors to America. Because Trump confessed. The Article 6 goes on. The judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Bound by what? Again, preserving life, liberty, property for all human beings. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state that go against preserving the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and property to all human beings must be replaced, must be stopped, eradicated, done away with, made null and void. It must conform to the unalienable rights of life, liberty, property to all human beings, or it is not a just law. The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution. Not the structure of government in the Constitution, the unalienable rights of life, liberty, property to all human beings. Trump has denied funding for Puerto Rico, for the Bahamas, for California, with their natural disasters, with their fires. He has not guaranteed the rights of life, liberty, property to all human beings. He confessed. And so right here, we have Trump who confesses to violating the Constitution of unalienable rights of life, liberty, property to all human beings. Being a despot. Usurping the Constitution. Becoming a monarch. To destroy human rights. And he confessed. And yet we have members of Congress who are going to vote no to impeach Trump. How much more simple do I need to be for you? You cannot deprive other human beings of life, liberty, and property. You can't do it. White supremacism is wrong because it deprives others who are not white of life, liberty, and property. It's a no-brainer that we can't have white supremacy. We can't have any racial organization that deprives others of life, liberty, property, equal, unalienable rights for all human beings. That's why criminals who are not forced to be criminals because the government is violating their rights of life, liberty, and property, but those who knowingly can do the right but purposely choose to commit crime, thus the government. In violating people's rights, they are going against the Constitution. Here in white supremacist Utah, the legislature just passed an increase on food tax. Our government leaders know what the cost of living is because they have to live. They know exactly what it costs for food, and they know how much is necessary for wages. They may not do the math because they make enough money that they don't need to worry about it, but they know that it's more than what the minimum wage job, even full-time, would allow. Because rent in Utah already covers the whole paycheck for 1 month. What else is a person supposed to get with that? Nothing. He can't get anything else. He pays his rent. He now goes without food. He now goes without other basic necessities. Because the government caused that, are violating the Constitution in depriving people of life, liberty, and property. The government is our enemy. Our own government are the enemy of the people. And they've confessed. And so here we are, at the crossroads of America, as the Republicans in the Senate, led by cocaine Moscow Mitch McConnell, the Grim Reaper, has already confessed that he's going to rig the vote in the Senate to let Trump go free, to continue to commit crimes against others, the Ukrainians, and against the American people. Mitch McConnell is a traitor to America. This is a war crime because Russia has been attacking us. And we have the Republican Party who are siding with Russia to destroy America, to destroy unalienable constitutional rights of life, liberty, property to all human beings. And they confess. Do you Americans really want our nation destroyed? You want your life taken from you? You want your liberty taken from you? You want your property taken from you? Is this what you want? I don't think so. And then you say, well, there's nothing I can do about it. What do you mean there's nothing you can do about it? Have you forgotten the civil rights movement? This is far more concerning than the civil rights movement, where people lost their lives to defend civil rights. All manner of assassinations occurred during the civil rights movement to silence and shut down those people, taking away their life, liberty, and property. And so now you're just going to sit back, try to pretend it doesn't exist, go back to work where you make a less than living wage, where your spouse or partner is required to also work so that you can have a family life as you live paycheck to paycheck, struggling to survive. And you say, that's the best we can do. No, it's not. We can create a better system. I've designed it. I know. It's not until America wakes up and says, enough is enough. And yes, we're going to have to shed blood, because they will attack us. We've seen it across this nation as people protest. Peaceful protests, and the cops come in and arrest them for civil rights violations. Excuse me? I thought protesting was a civil right. Our own government has turned on us, made us the criminals when we are the victims. And then they further victim blame us by punishing us with arrests, with deprivations. Wake up, America, because we're about to die.